Welcome to the Coast to Coast podcast, brought to you by Play Picks and the Lines. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by my guy Nate Weitzer on the East Coast. And it's time for the player props video that we love to bring you each and every weekday. Make sure you are liked and subscribed to that page. We got a couple other videos up for you today, and we are about to offer you a gift card opportunity with a player prop that if you guess correctly by throwing that in the comments, we'll go ahead and get a gift card to however many people get that correct. And as always, if you do still need a FanDuel or DraftKings account, head to fdpicks.com or dkpicks.com and find those listings in your area, such as these player props we got for tonight. Nate, let's get into it.
Oh, man, do the Lakers need one tonight? They are facing a Rockets team on the second leg of a back-to-back that just got blown out in Charlotte. And the Rockets have just been absolutely dreadful on defense lately, giving up the most points per game, 121.6, and the second most assists per game, nearly 30 per game over their last 8. Also giving up the second most points per game to opposing point guards this season. So enter Russell Westbrook, who is coming off a rough 4 for 20 field goal shooting performance against Brooklyn on Christmas. Prior to that, he had 20 points in consecutive games. When the Lakers win, he's certainly a big part of it, and he has to be right now with how shorthanded they are. He's averaging 21 points, 8.2 rebounds, and 8.7 assists in those wins. And I know the Lakers can't take anybody lightly right now, but honestly, this Rockets team on a back-to-back, and if they're even missing a few more guys, they're not really worth LeBron James's Herculean efforts that he's been putting up in the last few games. So I think maybe he lets Russ do a little bit of his Washington Wizards Russ style and just go bananas all over the floor. I would certainly look at his points as a starting point as just 20.5. That's what he's averaging, along with 10.3 rebounds and 9.5 assists in 4 games against the Rockets since leaving that team. But I would also just look at a triple-double for Russ, which is plus money, but a triple-double in a win, because I think the Lakers, who are on a 5-game losing streak, are going to snap that tonight. And there's a chance Russ gets there against a team that plays with a lot of pace and just gives up stats all over the board.
Yeah, I mean, if you ask Karl Anthony Towns, the latest drama is him calling out Russ for stat padding as he was on like a live stream with some dude and took the bait when asked about that. And that caused a whole nother bit of controversy. Then Draymond Green entered the fray, coming at Cat on social media as well. Either way, Russell Westbrook with a chip on his shoulder. And once he's in the social media limelight like that, I do like him to be the number one revenge or avenge player of all time, maybe. And so, yeah, this seems like a good opportunity for him to either get those 20.5 points, but why not take that triple double and a win for him? Something he has done recently as well with AD missing. So I think you like that there as well for him. And God damn, do they need a win? I mean, they're still somehow 7th. They haven't dropped after losing 5 in a row. They're still in the exact same spot in the Western Conference, which just tells you how top heavy that conference is and how bad it is towards the middle/bottom, right? But at any rate, I'm going to move on to my man, Jay Randall. I haven't taken him in a player prop in a while, and it's time to do so because he's been playing much better as of late. His points are at 20.5 right now. His points and rebounds, I kind of like a little bit more at FanDuel. Gets you, that's at 30.5 right now. Still minus 115, pretty close to even money for him to get over 30 points and rebounds combined. And I like those rebounds as well because of what he's been doing as of late and the fact that he gets a few more rebounds per game on the road actually this season, where he's averaging about 19 points and 10 boards a game when the Knicks play away from MSG. In his last 6, as I mentioned, getting a lot better, averaged about 23.5 and 9 boards, which is up from he was down a bit below 20 points and about 7 rebounds a game prior to that over a pretty decent stretch. So he's definitely seen an uptick in his performance, and honestly the re-addition of Kemba back into the lineup, inserting him back in there has definitely helped Jay Randall as well as they run that pick and roll, that high pick and roll really nicely together. And you've seen Jay Randall's threes start to go in a bit more, which is really, to me, at the end of the day, the biggest issue with him as of late in this entire season, rather, is that, the difference between him this season and last season, he's not hitting those threes quite as much. But either way, he's still getting to the bucket, and that's what the Wolves don't do very well, especially without Cat, who's not likely to play tonight again. They are on the second leg of the back-to-back after beating your Celtics, which was the craziest game of the night last night for sure. But after coming off that win, I don't know if that was a fluke. I mean, Jason Tatum wasn't playing for the Celtics. Either way, I'm not going to try to dive into the Celtics to use that as any sort of use case to talk about why the Timberwolves are good or bad. I'm just going to say they played last night. They allow a ton of free throws per game. They allow a ton of a really high percentage of their opponent's field goals to come inside 15 feet or so. I love Jay Randall to get his points and boards tonight. One other thing, if you want to juice that up a bit, get that double for him, which is what I think we expect either way. If you're saying he's going to get 31 points and rebounds combined, you got to expect him to get more than 10 or more than 9 boards and get that double for the Knicks to win. With that would be plus 182, which I would also really, really like tonight.
Yeah, as far as the Celtics, they could lose to those seventh graders that come out and play the halftime game if the situation is right. They could also beat the best team in the NBA, but that as we saw with the Warriors, but that's just their MO. They're complete head cases, and it's not necessarily the coach's fault. Quick aside there, just to say that the Wolves have not been good lately without Cat. They're giving up over 45 points in the paint per game, whereas previously they were the second best team at home denying paint points, and they're sixth worst on 2-point field goals, 55% in that span. Also now up to giving up the most free throws per game. So, yeah, Julius Randle averaging over 25 and 13 in his last two meetings with the Wolves. Yeah, he certainly can eat again in this matchup. I like that pick for sure, and obviously he's a guy who's near and dear to your heart. So I mentioned in the Nuggets Warriors video that Jokic has a PRA prop of 50.5 tonight, insanely high. The under is getting worse odds because it's just such a high number to hit. But I'm going to be bold and take the under. It's just such a crazy number. And I honestly feel there's about a 50-50 chance here that if the Nuggets are not very competitive in the third quarter, that they kind of throw in the towel because this is a home-and-home set, and they get Golden State back in Denver on Thursday. And the Nuggets have not been very good defensively on the road. They're facing the best offensive player in the game right now at the height of his powers. And, yeah, the Warriors getting a few more guys back tonight too, even though they lose Draymond to protocols. So there's definitely a good chance that the Dubs continue to roll at home. Even if they don't, in his last 10 road games, Jokic has only gone over this number 3 times. 2 of those recently against a very shorthanded Clippers team and against a Hornets team that just will let you do whatever you want on offense. In his last 5 trips to Golden State in particular, he's averaging 33.5 PRA, so not even close to that. This is a Warriors team that is the number 1 defense at home, allowing the second fewest assists per game, even lower assists in their last 3, only allowing 29 defensive rebounds per game in their last 3 because Steph Curry just doesn't miss shots. So how are you going to rebound? And that's what Jokic has depended on to get to this number. It's really those 2020 games or like scoring 37 to get over this 50 PRA. I don't really see either happening, even with Draymond out. I think the Warriors are just too savvy of an organization. It's like a think tank where Draymond might even throw in his 2 cents about, this is how we're going to guard Jokic tonight with few other options around him. And I think they're going to do a decent job of denying his production and just saying, you know what, Will Barton, Austin Rivers, you go ahead, you try to beat us because they're just such a smart team and so good defensively right now.
Yeah, 100%. And like you said, even if he gets that 2020 game tonight, which is what he did against those Clippers to get close to 50 PRA, I don't know if he's going to be able to get those assists even. I mean, you look at the Warriors, they give up the least amount of assists per game of any team in the NBA, even less at home than they do on the road. We know what they do on offense. That's why I do see, you talk about possible ways this game could go tonight. The Warriors just getting, the Warriors smashing the Nuggets and the Nuggets saying, let's just get Jokic off the floor and keep his stamina for this second leg of this back-to-back with the Dubs. That seems to make the most sense. I did want to make this the gift card opportunity. I know you think Jokic is going to go under that 50.5 PRA, but I would love to know what everybody else thinks. So the gift card opportunity here is Jokic's points, rebounds, and assists tonight against the Dubs. Throw that total in the comments of what you think it will be. Make sure you are liked and subscribed to be eligible to win that gift card that producer Dan will get out to whomever does get that correct. But I'm not necessarily necessarily going to follow you on the under just because it's as scary as taking an under on a Steph Curry prop. But I think it's much more likely, as the odds indicate at minus 122, that he goes under that number, without not being able to get the assists. He's going to have to drop 30 to 35 to get close to that number. And I don't see that for them tonight. As we talked about in that other video, we kind of like the Dubs to be able to score more than anything else in that game, not necessarily the Nuggets. So we'll see how that one goes. But I'm going to throw one last one out here for us, Nate, and that is Tyrese Maxey, who we normally would have eyed as a player prop, I think, and targeted him in the event that Embiid was not playing, as that was sort of his role when Embiid went out for those 7 games, was Tyrese Maxey came in and got the limelight and sort of put his name into the national spotlight. But then there was a little bit of a downtick for him when Embiid came back, and it was tough for him to figure out how to play in the same lineup as Seth Curry and Joel Embiid at the same time. And that has actually turned around. I think the youngster is definitely figuring it out. As of late, he's been playing with Embiid in his last 5 games, and he's still posting about a 23.5% usage rate in that time during over 33.5 minutes, and then averaging about 19 points on 53.5% from the field. Their offensive rating has been much better when he's on the floor in those 5 as well. He's about 116 for the team. So my point is they figured out how to use Tyrese Maxey as a starter with those other starters. And tonight, his prop against the awful Toronto Raptors right now is over 17.5 points, which gets you about even money on FanDuel. Or you could just bump that down actually to 15 points and a win on that player performance double on FanDuel gets you about even money, plus 102, actually better than even for Tyrese Maxey to do that. He's playing, as we mentioned, that Toronto Raptors team that just gave up 144 points to the Cavaliers, and they are averaging 119. They're giving up 119 on 14.5 made threes in their last 4. Plus, who is even going to suit up for them? They've been missing guys left and right. They missed 12 guys last game, including Siakam, Gary Trent, and Kem Birch, who are all questionable to return tonight. So we might see 1, 2, or 3 of those guys back, but that's not necessarily going to do anything for that defense that has been so bad as of late. And like I said, Tyrese Maxey coming into form as a starting point guard for this team and doing all the other things, including rebounds as well, that they missed from that guy, Sen Bimmons, who hasn't been playing for them either.
Yeah. And he injects a certain pace into their offense that they missed with Simmons, but the difference is he will actually go all the way to the basket, and that's something that they're missing right now. The Sixers, I don't really trust to cover 6 or 7 points under any circumstance. I kind of lump them in with the Celtics as a team of head cases that will play down to their competition at any point. And if they're going up against the Raptors G League squad, we could see a low scoring, hard fought game here. But I think that still speaks well to Maxey, who's, still proving himself in the NBA and can kind of thrive in any type of situation. If his team is struggling to find offense, and Embiid does not have the biggest numbers against Toronto, even when he's active, but Maxey just proved that he can drop 33 on this team when they're at full strength. So I definitely think he can drop 15 in a win or get over his prop, regardless of the result.
For sure. That is all the time we have on this one. Make sure you are liked and subscribed to that page so you can jump into the comments and let us know how many points, rebounds, and assists combined you think Nikola Jokic will have for the Nuggets tonight. And we'll keep rolling on in this weird NBA season. Definitely stay on top of the lines.com, playpicks.com, see who is in and out of those lineups tonight. And until we see you next, happy betting.